And we are live, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome to all our fibromyalgia friends all over the internet. This is the Fibromyalgia Community Conference, and we are taking over the internet right now. So, all of our fibromyalgia friends, come on in, post your comments, let us know where you're tuning in from, what you're excited to see over the next 10 days of content, all for everybody out there, all the fibromyalgia patients in the community. We are so excited here at the Support Fibromyalgia Network to host this event. We are a national nonprofit organization that focuses on patient and medical education, advocacy training, expansion of research, and collaborative care, which includes group health coaching and training of our medical providers, which we will get into later in this conference. I'm excited to be co-hosting this today and have our special guests all lined up. We have a lot of content. So grab your favorite beverage, hot beverage, those snuggable slippers, your furry friends, and come on into the live stream because you'll be streaming from all over their StreamYard. We have Facebook, we have YouTube, and we even have X, formerly known as Twitter, all live right now. I am Melissa Tolwar. I am the executive director of the Support Fibromyalgia Network, and I'm also a board certified functional medicine health coach. I'm joined today by my friend Danielle, who's going to be co-hosting with us. Hi, Danielle from North Carolina. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Danielle Patilli, just to introduce myself. I am a patient advocate and I work with multiple nonprofits, including this incredible nonprofit community, Support Fibro. And I'm just so excited to be here and to hear from all of these experts that we have. I'm excited to hear about Liz and Lo and how they got started with their Persevere Win. And I'm a science nerd, so I'm really excited to hear about all the medical experts that we have. Can't wait.
I know we have a full lineup and a lot to go into, and I'm thrilled that Liz and Lo can make it happen from Persevere and Win. So we connected on Instagram and just welcoming you here. And we were planning to go to DC and Bethesda, and we were able to meet you for the first time at a meetup, and it was tremendous. There's so much inspiration. You have a lot of courage. You shared with us your journey and your story, and also how you represent various chronic illness conditions. So from fibromyalgia to ADHD, mental health advocacy, it's all important. And that's why we wanted to launch with this event and have you on stage with us. So welcome, Liz and Lo. Where are you coming in from? Where are you streaming from?
Washington, D.C.
Yay! Why don't you give us a little bit of a brief introduction for those fibromyalgia friends who aren't familiar with who you are?
Yeah, so my name is Liz.
My name is Lo.
And we are from DC. We are mental health advocates, chronic illness advocates. And we started Persevere and Win because we actually struggled with our own mental health. And we also struggled with our physical health, and just seeing that the community struggles as well. And we wanted to find a way to be able to give back to our community. So Persevere and Win pretty much started as a movement to kind of just keep persevering through life struggles, your mental health struggles, and that you can actually improve some of your mental health through mindset and habit changes. Of course, we're not doctors, so we don't say don't take your medications. Like, definitely follow what your healthcare professional tells you to do, but that there are small things that you can do that can improve your health and your mental health and your mood and your mindset. So that's kind of what we focus on.
So we focus on journaling, exercising, even meditating, reading, just doing small things to, to get us forward and keep going and persevering and winning.
I love that. And there is a background connection too with family and the name, correct?
So it doesn't have to do with family. It has more to do. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the other thing that we mentioned. So,
Yeah. Okay.
but Persevere and Win was more kind of like a mantra. That's why we named it that, because that's kind of what we tell ourselves when we're going through a rough patch. We allow ourselves to feel our struggles. We allow ourselves to feel our emotions, but we know it's not permanent. And so the background behind that is that we both struggled with our mental health. We both attempted to take our lives before, and that's one thing that pretty much brought us together is our passion for mental health and for making a difference, even us struggling with our own mental health, because it's not linear. So we wouldn't say that we are completely better. Some days are better than other days, and that's pretty much what we focus on. It's just helping people improve their mental health, and we actually connect with various nonprofits as well, and especially in the mental health community here. So there are some that we actually do things with. One of them is called Black People Die by Suicide too, and they advocate about mental health and suicide prevention in the Black community. And they actually started hosting support groups for people that can't really afford therapy or anything like that. So we want to partner with them and make. We will be selling a shirt that will be helping them cover those costs so that they can be able to provide hopefully free support groups to the community. And we actually have an event this Saturday. It's a youth suicide prevention charity event with the nonprofit is called the We Fight Foundation. And they also have a mental health magazine called Rally Up. So we have an event, and it's going to be a fundraising event for the We Fight Foundation. And I actually will be reading a couple of poems that I wrote, this is something new for me because I write all the time but never really say anything about my writing. So Lo was like, nope, you're going to read your poetry out loud. But one
That's
of them I
awesome.
actually wrote when I was in a dark place, and it's about trigger warning, but it is a suicidal poem. And it was just what I wrote when I was feeling at one of my lowest.
Well, we appreciate you sharing, and then we'll definitely get that information out on the event and information too. And I know that these are important topics for people to embrace and connect with you because it's not only something that it's an advocacy point for you and things that you present and talk about, but it's also developed into a brand. So selling merchandise as well so that people can rally in more of a community aspect and providing that community for people in additional ways. And that's what's so cool because we see you having the images. You probably, everybody out there, you might have seen Brandy wearing the shirt too in some of the videos as well, which is a really cool aspect. So you're growing a whole community around what you're doing.
Yeah, and we definitely appreciate all of the support. So what we do with the clothing and the things that we sell is that we donate percentages to various nonprofits here in the area to help them follow with their path and what their mission is to help the community as well. So we're pretty much trying to help those that are trying to also help the community as well.
Well, and it's so important because a lot of the topics too that we're going to talk about throughout the conference is advocating for yourself as a patient, advocating at federally, getting involved with different ways of advocacy. There's so many terms for it. And I know I've been able to advocate with Danielle virtually for fibromyalgia. And then we did the Patients Rising event, which we'll also hear from Frank on next, who joined us too, where we walked around Capitol Hill and advocating for different conditions. So I do want to ask a question to both of you too. And then, I mean, as Danielle feels free to jump in too, when it comes to the advocacy point, why do you feel advocating for just health in general, no matter what chronic illness condition someone may be surviving with and just trying to thrive in this environment? Why do you feel like advocacy is important?
I believe that advocacy is important because it's a way of getting it out there. So, a lot of people know that the US isn't the best when it comes to healthcare. So, a lot of people are constantly struggling, and they sometimes they can't even afford their medications or their procedures that they need. And you mentioned patient like advocating for yourself, because I've had therapists, I've had doctors that they don't want to hear what I have to say, and that is very frustrating. So I definitely understand it. Um, I actually have hypothyroidism, which we talked about, and we were talking about how that overlays a lot with fibromyalgia. And when I was first diagnosed, I didn't know what was going on with my body. So I was getting MRIs. I was getting everything but what pretty much needed. So they were trying to eliminate, like, well, is it something in your brain? Is it this? Is it that? So I was getting like MRIs of my brain, and they found something wrong with my pituitary gland. So they thought it was that. And then they just sent me all over the place until an endocrinologist saw that I actually had like a tumor in my thyroid. So they told me that when I had my surgery, I'm gonna have probably a lot of side effects later on, like um, I can't handle the cold, and I have brain fog as well, and struggles with my weight, and like they told me some physical stuff like your hair, things with your hair, and it's just like the list was just ongoing. They told me my voice might start getting like raspy, and I just started freaking out.
Oh no.
Yeah, but it's all of that came from one thing that is just like, well, I thought it was something with my brain, but if doctors don't hear you out, they're not going to know exactly what struggles you're going through. And I was talking about the side effects, and it's like my ADHD. I just got diagnosed with ADHD not too long ago, about 2 years ago, but I've been showing and speaking about the struggles growing up. And people were saying like, no, it's not that, or everybody says that they have ADHD, but this is actually something I struggle with. And I know Lo can actually speak about her struggles with trying to find her fibromyalgia.
Yeah. I was diagnosed when I was 18 with fibromyalgia, but I went through thousands of doctors to get that answer, and it was very frustrating. I was told that I had Parkinson's, I might have MS, I might have leukemia, and just hearing all that, I'm just like, at a young age, it was just it was a lot. But once I did find out that it was fibromyalgia, I mean, it kind of were eased a little bit, but it was frustrating, not being able to have a voice. Luckily, my mom was very supportive, but even the doctors wouldn't listen to her at times. So it was extremely frustrating.
I appreciate you sharing, because one of the huge goals for this conference overall too is to let people know that they're not alone in this fight. It feels very isolating, especially when you get a diagnosis or you're searching for a diagnosis and trying to figure out what was going on. And in an earlier age too, when we're talking about 18, again, these stigmas that fall in of, oh my gosh, do I have this diagnosis? But wait, I just want to have like a normal life and go and enjoy it. And even with what Liz said too, with ADHD and over like trying to figure this out, which we're going to have Dr. Michael Lenz on Saturday to kind of talk about this and some of the overlaps that we have as well. And I know Danielle's background is similar too when it comes to this conversation and searching out for a diagnosis, searching out for support from medical providers.
Yeah, I think everything you said, both of you, a lot of people can relate to. And what you do with mental health is definitely needed. And I think there's an issue with it being stigmatized of the physical health and then the mental health. And that definitely needs to be changed, because especially when it's like an invisible illness, and then it with mental health being the issue of it, oh, it's just mental health, but it can be both, and both need to be addressed. So I think what you guys are doing is incredible, and I think we definitely should get this community connected with you guys. So we should, get your information connected to this community, because mental health is definitely needed.
Thank you.
Thank you. And definitely, especially for fibromyalgia. So I know that when we met with you, Melissa, and with Brandy that one time, which we were there for hours just talking about mental health and hypothyroidism and ADHD and fibro. And I pretty much came as a support for Lo, because as a partner, I don't know how to be the best support sometimes, because there's sometimes that I'll have to carry her out of the car because she can't walk, and I'll have to fill up the bathtub with like hot water. So, you know, I just finding out how I can be a better support, and just find out, like, you know, what's going on with your body, and how can I be a better support with your condition. So the fact that we connected for that, and then Brandy and I were talking about, well, maybe we should also do a thing where we can um, show partners how they can be supportive and how they can be helpful with their partners that have fibromyalgia. So Lo actually found out she had fibro through massage school. And I remember when she actually showed Brandy the certain massages that her partner can do to help with that tightness. So just little things that partners can also do to just help, you know, with the fibromyalgia, especially the flare-ups and just everything. You guys already go through enough. So whatever we can do to just help you out and be a support. So I always ask her, just communicate. What can I do? What do you need from me? And it's pretty helpful.
Well, and it's having those supportive people in your lives too, whether it's partners, significant others, if you do have supportive family, or the community itself, finding all of us out there too to lean on as well. And with this, I know there's a lot going on in the chat. So, yes, we want to acknowledge the chat too. I see some comments for asking questions. If there are questions available for Liz and Lo, and even for any of our guests, like Frank is up next, please definitely post it in the chat. We would love to hear from you as we're getting adjusted to all the comments streaming in. But for everybody out there with just connecting with you, since we mentioned it too, where can we find you online to connect with you, to follow you in social media?
So you can find our Instagram. Right now we are rebranding, so the website is down, but if you would like to be notified once it's back up, you can put your email in at you can type in persevereandwin.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Persevere and Win, and also on TikTok. We're also on TikTok. We're trying to become more active on social media because we are also caregivers, so we got a lot going on.
Yeah.
But you can follow us, message us, contact us. We also actually, on our website and on our Instagram, we created a platform where people can share their stories, and we were posting them every Wednesday, and we called them Warrior Wednesdays. So if anybody wants to submit their story, like, definitely get in contact with us. We would love to post you on our Instagram and our website once we relaunch. But yeah, so you can follow us on Instagram and put your email in on our website. And I do see people asking, so I'll go ahead and just type it up.
Yeah, and we can have you type it into the chat when you join too, and we'll add everything to the description. So all the links and stuff. I'm noticing that we're getting a little bit of spam. So I'm trying to manage that from different directions too. Some spammers have arrived, people. So we're gonna block those users. And delete those comments as quickly as possible too. So just don't click on the links, anyone out there, that is spam, just to let people know that is not part of our fibromyalgia conference, even though for some reason it's there. But here is their Instagram handle for those that want to go visit, and we will add more in. This is the website that is in progress. How about for 2024? What's ahead for both of you in 2024?
So in 2024, we feel like we have a lot going on, more events, more mental health stuff, more. We do want to also work with local fitness studios. Like we've been connecting with local boxing studios, just to see if there's a way that we can partner with them and provide some type of classes for the youth. So if there's a way that we can connect to provide funding or something so that we can help that. So that's kind of our focus, is just continue on partnering up with these local businesses and see how we can help them help our community. And I did have a look at the chat, so I want to say thank you to everyone who has been chatting. If you have fibromyalgia, and I saw that someone actually said that they're having a flare, and I'm really sorry about that, and we're sending you love. And I saw someone else say that if use 988 as a resource, and 988 actually is an amazing resource. I actually use 988, and you can call them if you're feeling like, it's you want to take your life away, and you really, really need someone, but you can also just call them just to vent. And the holidays are really rough for me, so my therapist provided me with the 988 resource. And I think my pride of just like, well, I worked in a hospital before, and I know how, they can treat some of the patients with mental health. So because I knew how it felt to have mental health, I did whatever I could to make the patients feel heard, feel welcome, feel cared for, because little things like that can really, really work. But yes, 988. So 988 is the national suicide prevention hotline. It's free to use. You can call them or you can text, and they will listen to you. They will provide unbiased listening, and they also provide you with resources. So the holidays are really rough for me. I don't have a healthy relationship with my family. And one of the people heard me out and actually provided me with some resource for childhood and family trauma. So just little things that you can do. Another person actually provided me with a self-harm alternative link. I used to self-harm as a teenager. I don't do it, but sometimes when I get triggered, my teenage brain kind of can show up. And I'm fully aware of it, so I'm able to ground myself. But it's good to have those type of resources when, for when you need them.
Absolutely, as many resources as possible to be sharing, and people appreciate your vulnerability and joining us today too, with more to come, because there was so much to unravel in this, not only in the mental health space, the chronic illness space, but also caregiving. You mentioned there's this youth aspect. And I did want to just give a special shout out to Crystal for being here with all these resources. So she did post this extra resource as well for people. If you're not insured or underinsured, you can find affordable counseling. And I think at the end of the day too, as we start talking about these conversations and move forward, Crystal reminded me as well with how do we create safe spaces for people? How do we create accessible and affordable resources for people moving forward? And I think when we bring up Frank, he's going to have also some additional things to present on this topic as well. But these are conversations that I encourage other people to have. So maybe Liz and Lo, when you start other things and projects, you might want to consider bringing Frank on, bringing Crystal on, to have these additional conversations with some of the experts in this space that are helping more support with like mental health advocacy. So that way we can really create this community of safe space. What does that look like? Because I know, I'm going to be honest, social media doesn't always feel safe to share as openly as I would prefer, even in my own background. So it'd be nice to figure out how we can encourage people to feel comfortable and what those resources look like, and learning about those resources, because I'm not as well aware myself. So I definitely appreciate you sharing, both of you being here. And I want to just give a shout out to Lizzie Cook for being here. Is there anything for UK viewers? I guess as far as resources, maybe that's somewhat thing to like kind of get into, see if there's resources available. If there's anyone in the UK that can share and post comments,
Yeah, I
that would
wanted
be
to
fantastic.
just clarify that the 988 is for the US, because I know that someone posted that Spain is 024. So, because I know we're
Oh,
global right now. So,
yes, we are global. This is the challenge. We're a community,
yeah.
like international community. So finding these resources, that's Marco. So Marco is speaking on Sunday at the conference as well. He did a great interview with Carrie, and I'm excited to share. Thank you, Marco, for posting that. So, and thank you, Danielle, for spotting it. So it's dial 024. So a lot of these support and different things, I think we have Canadian mental health support people in Canada. So please, anyone out there, if you have these links to the resources too, or at least the names, if you can post it in the chat wherever you're tuning in from. So you might be tuning in here from StreamYard, YouTube, Facebook, anyone out there. And that way we can capture that information and share it. And there's Crystal. Crystal's awesome, everybody. Shout out to Crystal. She has these she's ready for this international resources right here. So I love it that we see all this stuff. Frank is posting as well, and we'll have Frank up shortly. There's so many good comments and people tuning in from Wisconsin. Hello, Melissa. It's good to have you here. Sonia says, I appreciate this. So we're going to keep running this lab, and we're going to delete all these spammers too. This is what happens when we go international. They're coming in. And support is vital. And this comment too, I had no idea that fibromyalgia has so many symptoms. This is the challenge to distinguishing. And then if you have overlapping conditions or diagnosed with the autoimmune or rheumatic condition, get multiple conditions together, it's very challenging to figure out what's what. Even for the medical providers, they're just as confused. And so we've seen it too in the autoimmune space, that even maybe the blood values show that you are currently not in a flare for inflammation, but you have a lot of amount of pain if you are diagnosed with fibromyalgia as well. So it's something that we're going to get answers to moving forward. And I see everybody tuning in. It's so awesome to see everybody. Big Red, thank you to Liz and Lo for coming on here. And I'm seeing also Spanish. So, here's, do you want to just clarify this again? What is 988?
Yeah, I think that's the question that I was answering.
Okay.
But just in case you did miss it, that is the National Suicide Prevention Line for the US. And I appreciate everyone just like jumping in and saying, well, here's this one and here's this one. Like you guys are looking out for each other, and I love that. But yes, that is the one for the US.
Okay, that is the one for the US. And Frank's posted another link too for mental health resources. I know we'll be sharing more mental health resources as well. It's Danielle. We're going to have a Danielle sandwich tomorrow morning with Dr. Pinkston. I love it. So Danielle is here to get the word out and create some more safe spaces, because I know people want to be able to converse, and what that looks like with no judgment. No matter who you are and where you are in the world. And I think it's definitely something that can be challenging to organize. So we need more mental health advocates leading the cause. Let's just finish out. Is there any other closing things you want to leave people with before we close it out with you? I'm so glad you could join us.
Yeah, we appreciate you when you messaged us. And actually, Brandy, I don't know, Brandy actually texted me and said, yeah, we're also going to have Liz read her poem. And I was like, wait, what? When did we agree this? So I guess she wanted me to read my poem. I don't know. I'm a little shy still, but I did see that somebody told me I should probably post it online. And I was thinking of possibly posting it, but I don't mind reading it.
We would love to hear you read the poem if you're open and ready for it. No pressure though. You have to like be ready.
I don't mind reading it. I just don't memorize it, because I usually just write them off the top of my head and leave them like that. So that's kind of how I write. But yeah, I have it on my phone and I can read it, but I don't memorize it.
Oh no, you know you're talking to the fibromyalgia community here, right? With all our brain fog. I mean, I can't even focus with all the stuff that's going on in the chat right now. Memorize
I'm trying to keep up. Well, it's called People Like Me, and I wrote this back in like 2018, right before I had made an attempt. Luckily, I'm still here, but yeah. There are a lot of things that people like me will never be able to do. People like me will never feel happiness. People like me will never grow old. People like me will never have a family. People like me will always be cold. People like me will always people like me will always feel the darkness in everything we ever experience. People like me will never be understood because others think we're delirious. People like me will never have a normal brain, and people like me sometimes hate it. People like me will never get married because our image of it is already tainted. People like me see the darkness in things because people like me are realistic. People like me feel like life isn't a present, so people like me don't feel gifted. People like me feel like they are a bother, so we just shut ourselves out. People like me feel like they're no good at anything, so we are full of self-doubt. People like me don't let ourselves get close to anyone because all we do is cause pain. People like me hate these thoughts in our head because we feel like we're going insane. People like me know that they don't matter. If we kill ourselves, we just be a statistic. People like me know the reality of the world. We're pessimists, not optimistic. People like me still try to find a reason to keep fighting, but we end up losing hope. People like me paint smiles on our faces so that people like you don't know. People like me need better people in our lives because just like you, we have feelings. People like me just want to end it all because we are tired of concealing. And sorry I didn't give a trigger warning, but yes, I wrote that during a very dark time. And that was it.
Well, this talks about expression too of creativity and, no matter where you are in this. And I just want to honor and thank you for sharing the poem with us.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys giving me the platform. If it wasn't for Brandy telling me to do that, I probably would have just kept it in my phone, honestly.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. That was really powerful, and you're very gifted in being able to write all that out. Incredible.
I appreciate that. And that's kind of why we started Persevere Win, because all of those thoughts that I was feeling back then are completely opposite from what I'm going through now. Like, I have a wonderful partner, and now I just want to use my life and just make other people's lives better. And thank you everyone for your comments. I definitely appreciate that. I definitely have more poems, and some of them definitely relate to just a lot of things, not only mental health, just things in general. And that's kind of how I express myself. I just write a lot. But yeah, so thank you guys for everything that you're saying. That's so nice of you. I appreciate it. But that's kind of why we started Persevere Win, because we were in a dark place. We know how it feels. We just want to make a difference. We know we can't save everyone. We know we can't help everyone. But as long as we make some people's lives better, that's all we really want to do.
And that's what it is for us in our community, and all of us leaning into our strengths as well. And I know Liz and Lo are working with me on my courage in this area because I don't generally talk about this side or that part of my life. So they'll be working with me in order to share about more of this, because this is a lot of the reasons why we are doing what we are doing for all of you out there in the fibromyalgia community. Again, I want to emphasize to everybody out there, you aren't alone. I know we're not maybe physically there with you right now, but please know that there is a lot of work being done behind the scenes from a lot of people, and the advocates on the screen to the advocates you're going to hear from on the stage and in the chat. We are working behind. We're here for every one of you. We want to get you the resources that you need. Obviously, we understand we need more doctors. We're working on that too. But we're working as fast as humanly possible to make changes for all of you out there, because I know there's inadequate support. It's not adequate to cover what you're going through and what you're feeling right now for all of these services. But please lean into all of this light that you're going to hear throughout the community and emphasize. And all these advocates are there for you to support. They're online. They're coming forward to be a voice for those and give them courage. So I want everybody to know that and why we're doing what we're doing and working really, really hard. And again, why we have 10 days of all of this and more ahead. So I appreciate Liz and Lo being here so much. Thank you for joining us tonight. And I know we have a lot more interviews ahead and more content ahead moving forward in 2024.
Yeah, thank you so much, Liz. I definitely want to get connected with you guys, so we'll be talking soon.
Well, and we hope we'll see you in Advocacy too with Danielle. Everybody's going to meet up.
Yeah.
We'll be in Washington in March.
We're excited. We are definitely excited. Thank you for having us. Thank you for providing us with the platform. And thank you to everyone in the comments for engaging with us, for being supportive. And just make sure to connect with us. We would love to reach for you guys to reach out to us, to connect with us. And yeah, just let us know when we launch our website, what you think. So we do have, like I said, we do have an area where people can share their stories. So if you want to share your story, please, please, please reach out to us. We would love to share your story. And we also do offer to post them anonymously if you don't feel comfortable with people knowing who you are. We would gladly post you anonymously. So just let us know.
We will. Thank you so much for being here. So we're gonna take Liz and Lo off the stage for now, and then we're gonna bring on Frank shortly as well. So thank you two. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to answer a quick question because yes, so people were asking too about the science. Yeah, we're gonna get into a lot of science. So just before we bring on Frank, just to let everybody know, this is day one. Day one with tremendous speakers in here. The whole entire conference is built around healthcare professionals being on stage, researchers, and community leaders all together on one stage because we really feel it's important that patient leaders like ourselves, because we are fibromyalgia patients and chronic illness patients on the stage too, need to have their voices heard as well. So it's not skewed, which gets confusing even for the medical providers. But we invite everybody in to watch this conference as well, because there will be various speakers from all different groups. You're going to meet a lot of people we work with and a lot of different organizations. We have some researchers from Younger Lab and talking about neuroinflammation. We're going to get into the science of hormones. Tomorrow morning, too, Dr. Olga Pinkston will be talking on stage too. So that's 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning. I think 10:30 Eastern tomorrow, December 1st. She will be talking tomorrow. We have a lot of doctors coming up. So we'll keep that going. So let's, yes. And people are asking too about accessing this. This is all going to be stage streamed, recorded for everything. Everything is recorded everywhere. It'll stay on social media in the length, and then we'll eventually break down the videos individually too and get those uploaded for you. I know Mike is diligently going to be working and helping me with post-production as well. So please, I do want to switch gears and move to Frank. He's been backstage. So Frank, let's move you to the main stage. Frank, hello. How are you? I know you're on mute right now. So where are you streaming in from?
Hello.
Hi, Frank. Where are you streaming in from? Are
I'm
you here?
actually from Long Island, New York.
Okay. Well, Frank, why don't we get you introduced before we begin the presentation? Frank has prepared a tremendous presentation for us, but why don't you share a little bit more about who you are and your background for our viewers out here who may not be familiar?
All right. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. I love the platform. I love the idea of talking about mental. I almost say all my life, unfortunately. But 2011, I have a rare disease called sarcoidosis, and with that comes a lot of side effects. I also have Sjogren's, Parkinson's. I have fibromyalgia, and IBS, and all these other things. I could keep on going just all day on that part alone. But in 2004, I was a runner all my life. I went to college for running. I was a miler. I broke 4 minutes in a mile, so I was, a pretty decent athlete. And I went out for a run because I used to run 5 to 10 miles every day. One day I just went out for a run. I was living in Florida at that point, and all of a sudden I couldn't make it a quarter of a mile. I made it about a quarter of a mile. I couldn't breathe. I went to the hospital, and they found out that I had masses in my lungs. So I kind of was getting really scared. They ended up doing a biopsy, and they told me I had lung cancer. Now, that happens a lot, misdiagnosed. Everybody knows how it is in any chronic pain community. They all know. Well, mine went a little bit further. Even after biopsy, like I said, they said I had lung cancer, and I went through 4 years of chemo and radiation for a disease I never had. I didn't find out I had it until 2011 when I moved. 2009, I moved back to New York, and 2011, I was having problems, and they did another X-ray and said, "Oh, by the way, you have lung cancer." Thought it, but then they said, "Wait a minute." They did a biopsy and said, "No, you have sarcoidosis." I was like, "What?" I had no idea what it was. But really odd is that my wife's brother actually had sarcoidosis, even though it's a rare disease. But he got diagnosed early enough, so he took steroids, and he's been 4 years not being diagnosed. I already had it in 75% of my body. Just so the worst part about it for me was that if it was caught when I first started running, I probably would be okay. But now, unfortunately, I have it in every major organ in my body. And then, like I said, it also brought on other diseases. Now, the Parkinson's is not related. I just happened to get it. But yeah, so that's basically my background.
Well, and we've had the honor of working with you on the Hill. I was in your group
But
and advocating for you, which was so much fun. And so I think there's a little bit of a delay, Frank. So
yeah, that was great.
I'm just gonna have we'll figure this out and troubleshoot. Someone was asking, and Danielle, thank you for posting about what the condition is. So Frank, I just want to make sure to check in because if you're frozen or not, what we may need to do, because I know you have your presentation up. Can you sort of lead on just a brief overview of what you're about to present?
Sure. Okay. Just first of all, about the sarcoidosis. What is sarcoidosis? Thank you, Danielle, for putting it up there. The easiest way to describe it is my white blood cells are overactive. And instead of going to fight a disease, they go to fight and they clump up together and form masses or granulomas in any part of the body. So that's the easiest explanation I could say for sarcoidosis. Now, about my slideshow, there is going to be a lot of information on these slides, and I'm not going to go through each and every one of them. I want to put them up though because they're going to be when you record it, so everybody will be able to look back at them. But there's a lot of information about mental health, as well as not just for the patient, but also for caregivers as well. And to deal with mental health issues.
Well, it's tremendous all the advocacy that you're doing for everything. And again, we're having these condensed versions of these interviews where I know that we could talk to Frank for a long time because there's a lot of work that we're doing and talk about the patient's rising collaboration and Frank leading some of these committees too in furthering. But I do want to bring your presentation to the forefront. Now I'm trying to think, we're having a little bit of a connection issue. So hopefully maybe once, so what's going to happen is Frank will add your slide deck. And then what we may consider doing, Frank, if you're noticing some connection issues, is while you're presenting, you may want to turn off that camera and see if that helps. Don't turn off your audio because we need to hear you. But Danielle and I will move to the backstage. We're still there. Okay, so here, and then let's add we'll add your presentation to the stage. So there you are. And just if you could turn it to the next slide just to make sure everything's working and then move it back to the first slide. let me turn off our camera. Frank, are you still with us? Oh, did he mute himself? Frank. Oh,
He's not muted. Did we lose him?
I don't know. Ooh, okay, let's see if we can get Frank back here. Frank, are you able to let me see if I remove him and move him back in. Okay, I saw his device. Okay, so Frank got disconnected. Because I don't see him anywhere in here. So we will definitely see what we need to do to get Frank back in here. His mic might be connected to his camera. Okay. Well, we'll work on getting him here, but this is actually a perfect time while we work with him to get back in to talk about a little bit more of what's upcoming, Danielle. So we have a lot planned. And you're going to be with us for a majority of the conference too.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, I am a patient advocate, so I'm excited about all of that. And then science nerd. So to speak to all the doctors, Dr. Pinkston tomorrow. I'm really excited to speak with her about her podcast. And then Michael Lenz on Saturday. Saturday is going to be packed fully. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember everybody. So tomorrow is Dr. Pinkston. Chloe Jones is a research assistant. We have Dr. Adrienne Knorr. We're doing a special honor for with Donna Campbell, just to honor her as a friend and supporter that passed away, unfortunately, last year. And then we have Dr. Michael Lenz on Saturday. Jill is going to be doing a demo for us with myofascial work, so body work. I know we have our myofascial, the balls or the orbs. I should call them orbs, not balls, because that's not appropriate for streaming.
At least
Orbs.
You didn't call them balloons, so.
Well, the balloon, yes, because some of it comes deflated. So we'll get into that. We'll have a giveaway too of Jill's bundle of orbs, so you can participate that. We have Elaine Merrifield who'll be she'll have a presentation of a nature walk for all of us. And then we'll be back on stage. So we have the specific chiropractors of San Diego who will be joining us. And then Kelly from More Than Lupus. So that's a full lineup on Saturday. And we don't stop Saturday either.
I know.
So Saturday night, so everybody, it'll be like a Saturday Night Live. So we'll have the presentations in the Eastern time. We end about 3 p.m. Eastern. There's going to be a break. Go relax, eat some food, and come back in, because it's going to be Saturday Night Live streaming with Carrie from Taiwan. We're going to be live Saturday night at that time. And I'm getting my timing confused because it's
there's
6
so
p.m.
many time zones.
Go look at the schedule. I have it right there. But Carrie is going to be coming in from Taiwan. We're going to be learning too about the organization and the advocacy work overseas as well. So I see Frank backstage, and let's bring him back on stage. Hello, Frank. Welcome back. Oh, let's get him unmuted. There you are. Okay.
Hello.
Okay, let's try this again with your presentation.
Hey, it's not delayed either.
Yeah. Okay, it always works to go back in, come back out. Okay. So here's your presentation. Are you able to change the slides on your own? If you hover over, you're good with this, or do you need me to switch the slides for you? Okay, you got it. Well, Frank, we're gonna go backstage.
I got it.
And we're gonna go backstage, Danielle and I, and we're gonna let you take over the presentation. Okay, Frank, you ready for this? I think there's a delay.
Oh, sure am. Thank you.
Okay, we'll be right backstage.
Hey, everybody. I am so sorry about that. I guess StreamYard decided to kick me out to try to see if I could get in better. All right. So once again, my name is Frank Rivera. And this slideshow is really about mental health for chronic pain patients and caregivers. And just so you know, it is from a patient's perspective, mine. The reason why I say that it's from a patient's perspective is because I don't give out medical advice, but I have dealt with mental health, like I said earlier, for most of my life. I didn't realize it until just 8 years. I really brought a lot of things to light. So I always put the hashtag "You are not alone" because I always want everybody to know that you aren't alone. I felt alone, and I know how that feels. And I just, there is always somebody that you can talk to. Okay, and once again, this is me. I'm president of Stronger Than Sarcoidosis and Sarcoidosis of Long Island. My email is right there, fjr311@gmail.com, and my website, www.sarcoidosisofli.org. Now, on that website, you'll see there is a lot of mental health links in there, and that's also an easy way to contact me if you don't have my email as well. All right, I'm just going to read this one because I think this is pretty important. Practical Pain Management website put this up there. It has been well established that there are high levels of comorbidity between chronic pain conditions and mental health disorders. Moreover, psychiatric conditions such as depression, anxiety, substance abuse, personality disorders, and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, occur more frequently in patients with chronic pain than in the general population. Okay, and this is from Mental Health America. Pain, however, is not meant to last for a long time. Pain that typically lasts less than 3 to 6 months is called acute pain, which is a form of pain most people experience. But for some of us, or some people, pain can be ongoing or go away and then come back, lasting beyond the usual course of 3 to 6 months, and negatively affecting a person's well-being. This is called chronic pain or persistent pain. Put simply, chronic or persistent pain is pain that continues when it should not. Okay, so these are some facts that I've looked up, and I really think that people need to understand and learn. Researchers estimate that 50 million adults in the United States are dealing with chronic pain. A lot of people say there's more. The reason being is that they feel that a lot of people will not talk about it, so they believe that there's more. They say that chronic pain causes $80 billion in the United States in lost wages every year. Clinical studies have revealed that chronic pain as a stress state often induced depression, that are up to 85% of patients with chronic pain are affected by severe depression. While approximately 50 million of people experience chronic pain, about 17.3 million adults experience depression in the United States, according to the National Institute of Mental Health. Now, here's some simple symptoms of depression: disinterest in hobbies, activities, changes in sleep patterns, lack of appetite, extreme sadness and anxiety, feeling of hopelessness. Now, chronic pain and depression is very different than regular depression, so people really need to understand that as well. Chronic pain can have a significant impact on your life, which may leave you feeling isolated or lonely. Chronic pain can also worsen pre-existing mental health conditions like depression. Of course, chronic pain and addiction it's been a big thing lately. As with depression, struggles with addiction often happen for people with chronic pain. There are a few different reasons as to why this is the case. For example, if you have depression due to chronic pain, but you aren't sure how to address the symptoms, you might turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms, like using drugs, alcohol to numb the physical and emotional pain. Here's some treatment options, not all, but just some. Pain management, antidepressant medications, which I personally am on, physical activity, if you can, talk therapy, and then also learning coping skills. And that, with these, a lot of the time, I always tell people it doesn't always have to be a therapist that you speak to. I always say find somebody you feel comfortable that you could talk to. A therapist would be good if you're really dealing with the depression as well as the anxiety. And then also a psychologist, because a psychologist or a psychiatrist are the only two that are actually going to be able to give you the medicines that you're going to need as well. And then the 11 symptoms of anxiety. I'm sure a lot of people understand these. Worrying excessively, feeling on edge, frustrated or agitated, having trouble sitting still, feeling restless, experiencing fatigue, difficulties focusing on or concentrating, feeling irritable or angry, tense muscles, troubles with falling asleep or staying asleep, experiencing panic attacks, avoiding social situations, and holding irrational fears. Now, here's some mental health treatment for chronic pain that people have spoken to me about. Because there are so many different contributors to pain, it can take time to find what works for you. And that's the thing. You really have to work with your therapist, psychiatrist, psychologist to find out what works best for you. Because it's not the same for every person. Just like your disease is not the same for every person, it's the same way as with mental health. Sometimes the pain just needs to be managed enough for you to take part in daily life and keep doing what makes you. Because there are so many, sorry. All right, here's a couple of other things. Finding a good provider, a doctor, is key. Therapy, mental and physical therapy. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Change negative thoughts. Contextual cognitive behavioral therapy, also known as acceptance and commitment therapy. Accept yourself. When it comes to accepting yourself, it really means that you should, instead of setting goals that I'm going to run a marathon, I set goals that, all right, I'm going to get up out of bed and I'm going to do one or two different things a day. Make it that you can attain, and if you want to make them hard, you build to that. But make your short-term goals and celebrate those short-term goals. There's also clinical hypnosis, and there's also supportive therapy. Avoid guilt. Try not to feel bad. This is for caregivers. I'm sorry. Caregivers are just as important, or if not more important, than patients. Without the caregivers, us as patients wouldn't be able to survive. I know for me, my wife has been amazing. She has done so much for me, not just mentally, also physically and monetarily. So avoid guilt for caregivers. Try not to feel bad about experiencing negative emotions, but notice the positive. When you take the time to notice positive moments in your day, your experience of that day becomes better. And that's where I said make those goals obtainable. So you hit those goals and celebrate that you hit those goals. Get strength from others, support groups, and ask for help. Don't be afraid. It doesn't make you weak if you ask for help. I always say it makes you stronger when you ask for help. And for caregivers also, to protect your physical health. Because as a caregiver, a lot of times you're so worried about the person that you're taking care of, their physical health, that you're forgetting about your own. So improving your physical well-being, exercise daily whenever you can, eat well, get enough sleep, avoid the alcohol and drugs. They don't actually reduce stress, they often worsen it. And then practice relaxation exercises, deep breathing, meditation. And this one I'm not going to read all the way through, but this is for caregivers to recharge themselves. you have to take time for yourself as a caregiver. You cannot always be 100% there for the patient. You need to take some time and have somebody else help you out. Don't be afraid to ask for help as well. All right, and that's it on the slideshow part of it. But I wanted to tell you why mental health means so much to me. And it does. It goes with a trigger warning. I am very upfront and personal about my struggle with mental health and physical health as well. In 2015, I was told there wasn't any more medicines for me. I was in so much pain. I was literally couldn't even get out of bed. I felt like I was more of a burden to my wife and to my daughter, who is also I consider my kid, set up to commit suicide. I had everything all set up. I had everything planned to the T. And then I made one last call. I have the same therapist since I started this journey in 2011. When I called my therapist and told her that I'm going to commit suicide, and she came out with something that really, really opened my eyes. She said, "No, you're not." And I was like, "Yeah, I already have everything planned. I have it all situated." And she's like, "No, you wouldn't have called me. You called me because you wanted help. You didn't want to commit suicide. You just want the pain to stop." You know, and that's something that makes us different than just regular mental health patients. Is that a lot of the times there are, it has to do with pain. It has to do with not being able to do your normal things that you were able to do. So I ended up putting myself in a 72-hour watch. And for people that don't know what that is I put myself in a hospital for 3 days, and under a mental health watch, a suicide watch. And I learned a lot. When I went there, I was like, this is going to be a joke, but I really did. I learned a lot, and I learned to cope with my feelings, and that really helped me a lot. So I always say, don't be afraid to ask for help. The other thing that I also want to say is that really brought mental health into my community as a sarcoidosis advocate. Between 2015 and 2018, 38 patients that I know of that had sarcoidosis passed away in that 3-year span. Well, out of that 3-year span, 18 of those 38 committed suicide. And that, I thought I was alone. I really thought I was alone in this battle. I really thought that the mental aspects, I'm going to have to fight it alone. But then out of those 18 that did commit suicide, 12 of them were men. So I had to do something. I had to speak up about it. I was always so afraid of what people were going to think about me, about, he was going to, he was going to take his own life. He's mentally unstable or anything like that. It's not. It has helped me to speak about it. So as much as I speak about it to others, it also helps me to speak about it. But it's also, since I've found a lot more people have come up to me and said, "Hey, I'm feeling that way too." So one of the things that I've worked with the rare disease community is actually helped this gentleman, Dave, sign up a support group for men for mental health. So men can speak to other men and don't feel alone. Because unfortunately, there is that stigma of mental health, and people have to understand, guess what? Like I said earlier, You are not weak if you ask for help. I know a lot of people are brought up that way, but it's not. You have to you you're weak when you don't fight something. When you attack something head on, that makes you stronger. So I want people to understand that we are stronger. Another thing that I really want to say before I am done here is, in a lot of conferences, I have done 5 different conferences this year, and I was the only one speaking about mental health at all 5 conferences. We need more. We need more people to speak up, and more people. Even if, like, I started speaking at clinical trial conferences. I speak about mental health because I want everybody to know it. I want everybody to be aware of it, because the more people that are aware, the more help we will get. One of the things I've done for my sarcoidosis community, and I'm working on for other communities as well, is we have an online therapy. It's onlinetherapy.com, and they're offering percentages off of your copay or your payment for a therapist. And what I do is I actually give the therapist information about the disease that that the patient is coming in with, so we can help the therapist, because that's one of the biggest things I had the problem with the therapist. It took us like 6 months to actually figure out the whole background of sarcoidosis, and then figure out what we could do to help me as a patient. So now I try to break that gap and give them all the information about the disease even before they even see the patient that they are set up with. So thank you again. I do appreciate it. And like I said, there's a bunch of numbers and support on my website, www.sarcoidosisofli.org. Thank you.
And that's the best place to reach out to you and contact you. I think there's a delay when we show up. Sorry about that, Frank.
Because right off the bat, it'll say contacted.
Well, thank you so much, Frank, for joining us and presenting this. So I know I just want to showcase some of just people connecting, people. Yes, we need to have this more and having this conversation more. There's a lot of agreement here. So this is perfect, right? So we have a lot of strength and unity in what we need to share and move forward, especially for mental health when you're managing a chronic illness condition. So all of these groups, and I'm going to encourage Frank to continue to share in the chat throughout the conference these resources that are available. And Frank, please feel free to go into the chat afterwards. I think it should be shared in different places, so that way people can definitely connect with you. There's a lot of thank yous, Frank, for being here. And I know we'll have Frank back too. And there's a really great interview, right, that you did with Crystal that's online as well on Crystal's channel. So Crystal will get that shared. I know Crystal interviewed Frank, and he has some other online interviews and that we can also share with everybody as we continue this, because I know it's important to speak on mental health and share, but again, trying to create these safe spaces for people to feel comfortable in sharing, and then what that looks like, and even finding this courage to go forward and share these resources, because people need to know that they're not alone living with chronic pain. And a lot of these conditions that we manage day in and day out are very isolating. It feels like we're alone on an island, but this is why we do these conferences and other things that we do to get the word out. You'll see Frank at different conferences as well. Danielle speaks. We're also within the rare disease space. So we're out there, we're advocating, not only like in the clinician's office, not only on social media, but we're also advocating with our congressional representatives to create the kind of change. And I encourage everyone out there not only to connect with people, but if this feels like an initiative that you want to get more involved with, maybe it's joining us on Capitol Hill. There's some great resources that we can also share with you to join and advocate. Like, there's a lot of room for healthcare advocacy out there. And Monday, we're bringing in Jim from Patients Rising. He's going to talk about those different resources too. So there's a lot to share. I appreciate everybody joining us for our first kickoff event. Yay, we did it. I know there's a few hiccups, but I'm glad, Frank, you were able to present and you sounded fantastic. Danielle, thank you for jumping in and co-hosting. To Liz and Lo, a shout out to everybody out there. We will be back tomorrow morning. We are just getting started and we are learning the ropes. So if you do have any questions about where we're streaming, put them in the chat and we'll be answering questions after the stream ends.
I just wanted to say thank you to Frank for your PowerPoint. It was great. And growing up in the medical community, I was afraid to say, if I had depression or anxiety because of having an invisible illness. But once I got older, I was like, you know what? I need help. So I appreciate you advocating for people like that. And we definitely need more people doing that. So thank you. Can't wait to continue this conference. So I'll see you all tomorrow.
Yes,
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Frank, so much. And having the courage to be vulnerable and share, and keeping that courage to you, yourself, Frank, Liz, and Lo, for having that bravery and courage. It does come off to me because I don't necessarily feel comfortable talking about these topics, but it's important that I learn from all of you in this. And that's the process that we take today and move forward with. So I want to say shout out to all our fibromyalgia friends that are coming and joined us for our first night. Tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, we have Dr. Pinkston presenting. She is an incredible resource as a rheumatologist, a board-certified rheumatologist. We'll have some news from her. She works with different patients. She has such an amazing array of science and terms. So we look forward to everybody tuning in tomorrow. We'll have some giveaways coming up soon. And I'm actually, the secret word is #FibroNerds, #Fibromyalgia Conference. Share all of this information. Let all your friends know we're having this conference. Tune in. There is going to be a special giveaway on Saturday for those that you remember. Then what I'm studying. So someone out there, the first person to post this when I ask the question on Saturday. So you're going to have to tune in. What exams am I taking on Tuesday that I have to go run to the lab right now and do my work? Microbiology or biochemistry. For those of you, one of you will get it right. And I have a very special gift for that person that can post a chat on Saturday. We're going to be doing some giveaways too. But keep on watching. We have a lot of content. So thank you, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye.